I came over to Margaret River and thought I'd better have a look at that block of land that I bought. And I brought my mother here and we stood on the block and she said to me, "Oh, what are you going to do with it?" And I said, "Oh, just leave it for a while." But if I did build, I said to her that I would build with country builders. I always knew that when I would build, just as I've bought places and renovated in the past, but I've never built from scratch before. And I always knew that I would build something very open, and the display home was very similar to that. It was quite open and airy feeling, which I loved. This is definitely my favourite room in the whole house, and I think one of the reasons is that I can see almost everything from here. I can feel like I'm in the garden. When my friends found out that I was building and still living overseas, they just said I was crazy because people keep telling me horror stories about building and all the issues and problems there were. I didn't have any at all. You know, I took a couple of trips back here during the process to see how things were going. If there were any issues, they were sorted straight away. Sue and the team were so honest. If there was anything coming up, they would tell me straight away. So I always knew where I was at every stage. Sue was a great guide to what would work and what wouldn't work. Apart from the large open room that I wanted, I also wanted a guest suite because I knew that I'd have lots of friends wanting to stay once I'd built in Margaret River. We managed to achieve that as well. But you definitely have to go in with some ideas of what you like, what you don't like, and don't rush the decisions. I think they understood what I was trying to achieve, and even along the way there was a few suggestions. I know that the guttering, for example, a suggestion was made by someone there that a different profile to use for the guttering because of what I was doing, which I went with, and it works beautifully. To me, the biggest piece of advice, I think, is to build with someone that's reputable, because things can go wrong, and you do hear horror stories. Luckily, I didn't have any, and I had such a great process of building with country builders. There are going to be issues. It's a matter of how they're handled, and that was the good thing. Everything was handled really well. Everything was solved if anything came up. It was such an easy process. It was great. I had no issues whatsoever, even with the distance.
If you've got, I guess, any piece of advice for anyone building?
I do. Build with country builders.